Can you sense it? It's in the air, thick and hard to miss. Deafening, it's Oscar Piastri. A love triangle has formed around Oscar Piastri as the highly regarded young Australian prepares to make his Formula One debut in 2023. You're probably wondering, who is Oscar Piastri? What does he have to offer the F1 world? In fact, rumor has it that he could be better than Lewis and can compete with the likes of Max Verstappen. Let's look at Oscar Piastri's backstory and see if he's F1 material and if he can compete with the likes of Lewis and Mad Max. Melbourne appears to generate a lot of amazing individuals. After all, it produced the magnificent Thunder God Thor, Chris Hemsworth, and now it's produced a youngster in F1. Piastri, born in Melbourne, joined Alpine's program after winning the Formula Renault Euro Cup title in 2019. He took his form into the Formula 3 series in 2020, winning the first race on his debut and winning the championship by 3 points in one of the most tightly contested championships ever. The next year, he was on the Formula 2 grid, winning 6 races to declare his debut on the international scene unambiguously, becoming only the third rookie champion after Charles Leclerc in 2017 and George Russell in 2017 and 2018. Despite his quick development, Piastri was passed over for a Formula One drive this season due to a shortage of available cars, but he's waiting on the sidelines at Alpine to replace either Esteban Ocon or Fernando Alonso if they were forced to miss a race. Webber, a 9-time race winner noted for his single-mindedness, has long been a fan, telling reporters, "Does he deserve to be in F1? We are all aware of this. It's not a matter of if, but of when." Well, as you may know, all young people enjoy controversy, and Piastri has demonstrated that he is no exception. With a brief post on his Twitter account earlier this week, the Alpine reserve driver caused havoc in the F1 paddock. Less than 2 hours after Alpine announced that Piastri would race for the team full-time in 2023, filling the seat vacated by Fernando Alonso, who opted to move to Aston Martin to replace the retiring Sebastian Vettel, the Australian wrote, "I understand that, without my agreement, Alpine F1 has put out a press release late this afternoon that I'm driving for them next year. I'm afraid that's wrong, and I have not signed a contract with Alpine for 2023. I will not be driving for Alpine next year." In an instant, the 21-year-old threw F1's summer into disarray and ensured that while not directly connected to the on-track action, the public would be delighted by compelling drama in the coming weeks and months. Piastri has been a part of Renault, Alpine's parent company, Young Drivers program since early 2020, winning both the Formula 3 and the Formula 2 championships on the first try. After being obliged to wait for a move up to F1 this season due to Alonso and Esteban Ocon's contracts, the team had been attempting to send Piastri out on loan to backmakers Williams for 2023 before potentially replacing Alonso in 2024. Alonso's surprising switch to Aston Martin, which is currently a regular F1 mid-table squad in the Constructors' Championship, while Alpine has been second quickest after Mercedes for years, caught the French team completely off guard and spurred them to move to get Piastri in Alonso's place. But Piastri and manager Mark Webber, a former Formula One champion with Red Bull, had different plans. Disappointed by the prospect of years at the rear of the grid with Williams, the two had been discussing a prospective switch to Mclaren and now appear to be so sure of ditching Alpine. Piastri has caused many to feel self-assured. Winning the F3 and F2 championships at the first attempt in successive years is a definite indicator of a driver capable of stepping up to a competitive position in the highest racing category. That record is akin to that of Charles Leclerc and George Russell. They raced for lower-tier teams at the outset of their respective F1 careers before competing for two of the world's most prominent motorsports brands, aiming for race victories. The caliber of his resume explains why McLaren is eager to lure Piastri away from their competitors and why they are likely prepared to let go of his compatriot Daniel Ricciardo after 2 unsuccessful seasons, failing to compete with Lando Norris. Alpine, for their part, believes that their current contract with Piastri is binding and that he is required to drive for the team in 2023. What appears to be on the horizon now is a court battle over the specific language in both Piastri's Alpine contract and perhaps Ricciardo's McLaren deal, which the driver claims still has a year to go. At the same time, CEO Zak Brown says mechanisms exist to limit things come December. Contractual issues may not be why anyone falls in love with motor racing, but they are the most probable source of charge and talking points in F1 for the remainder of 2022. Piastri, for one, will now spend the summer knowing that he is the hottest property in racing and the name that's got fans' tongues buzzing. Comparing this young star to the greats of Formula One would be absurd, but it would shock you to know that this young man achieved a lot just at 21. Piastri had a terrible start in the Formula 2 Championship. He finished 5th in his first race, 6th in the second race, and made up places before passing fellow Alpine junior Zhou Guanyu on the last lap to take the lead and win his first Formula 2 race. Piastri finished second in 2 of the 3 races at Monaco, pushing him into second place in the championship standings behind Zhou. After that, he was forced to withdraw from Baku's opening sprint race after colliding on the first lap, but he finished second in the feature event. He won pole position at Silverstone and the championship after placing 6th in the opening sprint race. At the end of the 4th round, he led Zhou by 5 points in the championship. Piastri won his maiden feature win in the series in Monza, including a fight with Zhou on lap 25, and extended his championship lead with another Poland win at Sochi. As if that wasn't enough, he became the second driver that season after Yuri Vips to win 2 races in the same weekend, finishing first in Jeddah's second sprint race and being in the lead when the feature race was called off. With a podium finish in race 1 at Yas Marina, the Australian became the 3rd driver to win the championship in their first season. He finished his season with a win in the main race, his 4th in a row, giving him 6 wins, more than any other driver that season. With his triumph, Piastri joined Nico Rosberg, Lewis Hamilton, Nico Hülkenberg, Charles Leclerc, and George Russell as the only drivers to win the Formula 2 championship in their debut seasons. Although Verstappen missed Formula 2 owing to his speed and no restrictions, there is little question that he would have won the title in his maiden season. Now that the records demonstrate that Piastri can compete with Hamilton and Verstappen, all he has to do is copy and paste their figures into his F1 stats. With his 2019 Formula Renault Euro Cup triumph, he also became the 6th driver after Hamilton, Hülkenberg, Leclerc, and Russell to win the Formula 3 title, followed by the Formula 2 title the following year, and the first driver to win 3 consecutive F1 feeder series titles. When comparing this youngster to Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, it's tough to believe he can compete because these drivers have accomplished so much. Verstappen has 8 victories and an 80-point lead in the championship. While he has undoubtedly profited from Ferrari's numerous implosions, the Dutchman has barely put a foot wrong all season, allowing him to build his lead. He has finished outside the top 3 only 3 times this season, all due to technical difficulties, and the defending champion has luckily added a new degree of maturity to his driving. What a figure! But that's just Max Verstappen. What about 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton? Following an atrocious start to the season where the phrase porpoising began to dominate the headlines, Hamilton has returned from backaches to finish on the podium in the past 5 races. It's the first time in a decade that he hasn't been able to contend for the championship, and although that's disappointing, he's doing an admirable job with what he's got. Recent performances indicate he'll be able to win a race before the year's over. These guys have been doing well regardless of how challenging F1 has recently been. Do you think Oscar Piastri can handle the heat F1 has to offer? Comment below.